What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sir Splash, and here once again is my homie Kratos.
What's up?
So we have decided to kind of skip the BS of making individual videos, and we are going to make this Star Wars vs. God of War a two-part battle. So it's going to be three Jedi and Sith versus three forms of Kratos in this battle. And then next video will be the final three versus the final three. So we will include how strong. Basically, this will serve the purpose of we will explain what matters in this fight for scaling wise. And if you guys still want individual videos on the forums, we can still do that. This is just quicker. But anyways, if you have a problem with anything we say, any of the scaling, Discord link down below. Join my Discord. Join the server. You can talk to me. You can bitch at Kratos because he sucks. And it'll be fun. But anyways, so for my team, we're just gonna introduce our characters, say who they are. I'm bringing Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is, composite Obi-Wan. Yoda, Jedi Grandmaster Yoda. Also, I'm not using just the Disney canon because I'll get fucked. And I'm also using EU Darth Sidious. So, Kratos, explain which forms of Kratos you are going to be using.
Alright, I'm using Demigod Kratos, which is basically Chains of Olympus, Ascension, and God 1. That's basically Demigod Kratos. I'm using God of War Kratos, which is when he had his position as God of War. And then I'm using God of War 2. Those are my three versions of Kratos that I'm using.
Alright, so what I think you would agree with for this battle, we might just equalize speed because speed's not really relevant.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because we both have arguments for the same level. Like yesterday, me and Kratos talked off camera, and we had pretty much the same, not really wank, just highball of their speed. So it's kind of, speed won't matter in this fight. It's going to come down to hacking, fighting, all that. So, so it's a 3v3. So I guess what we'll do is, if we agree on one character getting eliminated, we will allow the character that won to move on, and we'll gauge how damaged they would be moving on. So,
yeah, sure.
Alright, so as the visitor to my channel, you can pick which matchup you want to do first.
Okay. Let's do Demigod Kratos versus Obi-Wan first.
Alright, so the Chad God Kenobi versus the other Chad God. I'm not even gonna lie. Alright, so do you want to present your side first, or do you want me to?
You can go first.
Alright, so skill-wise, I definitely think Obi-Wan has a pretty favorable advantage here, which might sound weird because of Kratos' background, but my reason for saying this is Obi-Wan is arguably the best defensive fighter Star Wars has ever seen, and his Sarisu style is perfect blade defense. So if he is facing an opponent in a blade-on-blade contest, you're pretty much not going to breach his guard unless you use some other method of attack, which is why Grievous, who was faster than any Jedi or Sith, Obi-Wan was able to match him. And he also enters a flow state in battle to where he kind of lets the Force guide him in combat. And I mentioned this in the Obi-Wan video, but the lightsaber itself is not just a plasma-based heat weapon. It is a reflection of your connection with the Force. And according to Ahsoka Tano, when she was trying to locate him and Skywalker, they were basically you couldn't really tell the difference between the two in their power in the Force. So if your power in the Force is a beacon, they both pretty much gave off the same beacon. She just happened to know them both really well. That's how she knew the difference. So that just kind of illustrates the power of Obi-Wan. So I think his skill, his defensive style and tactics give him an upper hand here. Of course, there's a lot more going into this, but that's just what I'll start with.
Well, that's where I'd have to disagree with you.
You can't.
This
is my YouTube channel. You're not allowed to disagree. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Well, I disagree with you there because, well, for starters, obviously, Kratos grew up in ancient Sparta, right? Mm-hmm. At a very young age, he climbed the ranks of the Spartan League, and he became a general at like the age of 20 or 21, or around there. And as for the training back in ancient Sparta, they were put through harsh, like, regimes and such. Like, you know, they would have to go out into the deadly winters and survive as children. They would have to fend off other animals against themselves and dangerous creatures. Not only that, but during his general career, when he was about to face defeat against the barbarian, he called out to Ares, and Ares basically became his master, right? Mm-hmm. And he trained Kratos in every way possible, in torture, dueling, training his mind, his strength, and Ares is the god of war, right? He's been around for thousands of years. He's been through every single war imaginable that is waged upon the humans or the mortals, right? Mm-hmm. So with that knowledge alone from Ares, being able to basically live through thousands of wars and gain the knowledge of how to combat properly, I think that, and being as he taught Kratos all this, I think that Kratos would have the knowledge of thousands and thousands of wars and the skill of the god of war. And especially being as when he gained his strength boost when he fought Ares, right? He became so skilled to the extent that he literally fodderized Ares. So I personally think when it comes to dueling, Kratos would have the upper hand.
Okay, so I guess I'll kind of clarify what I mean by the skill. So, an overall combat skill, I wouldn't argue Obi-Wan's more skilled than Kratos. But for this specific matchup, which will institute sword play, I believe Obi-Wan's skill with the blade is at least relative to Kratos' skill with the blade. And I think the stylistic matchup for sword fighting favors Obi-Wan.
Well, you know, Kratos he is a weapon master. He can, I'm sure that Obi-Wan can do the same, but like whenever Kratos picks up a weapon, he instantly knows how to use it in any type of point to defeat his enemy. You know, like when it comes to swordplay, he's been, you know, ancient Sparta, he's been training with swords since a tiny child, right? Because they got children at the age of 8 to train and like fight and learn how to fight. So if it's coming down to weaponry mastery or weapon mastery, I'd have to agree that they're either equal or Kratos would have a slight edge over Obi. Yeah, that's where I would put my stance.
So an overall skill in combat, I would give it to Kratos. But in swordplay, which I think will be a majority in this fight, I would say relative. I just think the stylistic tendency of Obi-Wan favors him.
All right, I'll agree to that.
Or it's that like, okay, so I can give more examples of how good Obi-Wan is. So characters like Revan and other Sith Lords usually they use devices called holocrons, which is the leftover information of former combat specialists. And Tulak Hord, who was the greatest Sith sword fighter in lore of his time, like he was so good with a blade that the entire Sith army, everybody, no one could beat him. They had to kill him in his sleep. They couldn't fucking fight him. Like it was like, yeah, we have no shot against this guy. We have to kill him in his sleep. He, even with Revan absorbing that knowledge and the knowledge of all previous sword fighters, and then people like Sidious absorbing the knowledge of all previous, Bane, even like Obi-Wan is at least relative in lightsaber skill to most of them. Sidious, his advantages don't necessarily come from skill; they come from his force power. But But defensively, he's still the best. Arguably, I would say Bane might be tied with him in Surisu use. But like even with all of the knowledge absorbed for Revan of all the ways to fight, he's still not a better defensive fighter than Obi-Wan. That's how bad Obi-Wan was.
And so you said Surisu, right?
Yes.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't read the EU novels completely. I have read some of them.
You're already.
Get the bag out of here, nigga. So, I remember that, so Obi-Wan's style is Surisu, right? And that's all about defense and such. If I remember correctly, again, this is from the Disney movies of what I remember, so you can tell me if it's wrong based on the EU and such. But how Dooku beat Obi-Wan and basically fucked around with him was just by chucking rubble at him, and he got caught off balance. So how exactly does that all work out?
So I kind of touched on this earlier. I guess that wasn't clear. So Surisu style is perfect defense of the blade. So in a strictly lightsaber battle or sword battle, you're not really going to break his guard. The only way to break his guard is to incorporate other attacks, and so which is what Dooku would do, right? And so when he's so focused on perfect blade defense, it's easier to breach his other defenses.
Okay.
That's a true statement. Now he got a lot better with this. He was able to work around it, as well as I would argue someone like Dooku breaking his guard is by no means like a bad thing. That's still not prime, what I consider the strongest version of Obi-Wan. But yes, Surisu. Okay. So if you incorporate different types of attacks, if you abandon the sword fight, you have a good chance of knocking him off balance. I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. So if it does come down to that, right, based on, strength and such, Kratos has a little bit of magic that would be able to help him out there. There's like Obi-Wan, how does magic, like actual magic, exist within Star Wars?
Yeah, Sith sorcery.
So like lightning and such, like Sidious's lightning and all that would be considered the magic of the verse?
There's also different types of sorcery, not just that. There's stuff like life absorption, death manipulation, disease, mind wiping, mind control, stuff like that. That could be used in sorcery.
Okay. So Kratos has you when we talked, I explained all the magic and items to you and such.
Yeah, but there's a shit ton. So which ones matter here?
Okay, so I believe that the ones that be good here would be the Horn of Boreas, Army of Hades, especially Zeus's Fury. Now, I've seen. You could argue that being as Zeus's Fury is a lightning bolt being projected at you, you could always argue that Obi-Wan has two Dominus, right? And he can just redirect that lightning.
Well, yeah, at the very least, he could use his lightsaber for two Dominus. He has shown a proficiency with that.
Especially with Surisu and all that. With the Army of Hades and such, that allows him to create intangible spirits from the under to help him fight in battle, right? How would Obi-Wan defend himself against that? And I know you said he's like defensive-wise, he's a god, right? He's really good due to Surisu and such. But if he had, hundreds of spirits attacking him from every single angle, let alone Kratos, a fucking beast charging at him and basically whipping his dick out and just swinging around his blades of chaos and shit and whatever other equipment he had, how would Obi-Wan react to that?
Alright, so this is where it gets weird. Because it's a 3-on-3 on the battlefield, The use of such a weapon might be a bad idea for Kratos because Sidious will be bullying nearby and might be like, give me that shit. Use it himself. So I think now, if this was one-on-one, no other people on the battlefield, Obi-Wan would probably have a really hard time with this. There's a couple ways he could go about it. His trust in the Force and his connection with the Force, his flow state, might allow him to literally Chad out of the spirit situation. And there's a lot of times there's like astral attacks in Star Wars, soul attacks. And a lot of times it comes down to willpower. And I could argue Obi-Wan is one of the biggest Chads in Star Wars. Like Anakin, in Clone Wars, right, was able to completely neg a attack that wiped out thousands of Jedi on every level. And Obi-Wan scales to him. Now, Obi-Wan doesn't have any like real direct feats like that. However, Obi-Wan, there is a Jedi Master, I think her name was Sima Sutra or something like that. She resisted complete erasure on every level. And she was a regular Jedi Master, and I would argue Obi-Wan's way stronger than that. And based on the novelization of that event, it appeared to be your connection to the Force was the way to negate that kind of attack. And Obi-Wan, like I said, was relative to Anakin and his connection with the Force. So he would probably be able to chat out of it. But the issue there, can you kind of describe what the spirits do when they attack?
So basically, he summons lots of spirits, right? And when they're summoned, an example of the spirits would be, so like say there's two enemies in front of him, right? And so let's say Draugr, for example, or zombies or whatever. He uses his blades of chaos, smashes them together, and then like these spirits, they basically jump out of his blades and they zoom around, continuously attacking. It's like, so you know how Yoda jumps around and is like a huge fucking monster? They attack like that.
Alright. Okay.
That's how they attack.
Alright, so I think Obi-Wan actually... So what would probably happen is if Kratos charges in too, he would force push Kratos away. And then obviously it's not going to do any damage to Kratos, but it creates a separate... And it showed in the Grievous fight, Obi-Wan, it was stated, moved faster than any Sith or Jedi previously because of his connection with the Force and his style. And he literally deflected thousands upon thousands of light speed attacks. So a barrage like that with Obi-Wan flow state, because like I said, I kind of debunked the notion that the lightsaber is just a plasma based weapon. I think he would be able to slice and dice and deflect them. But the issue is gonna be, okay, can Obi-Wan knock away Kratos long enough to dispatch all of the spirits? How many spirits are usually summoned?
Usually, he can summon as many as once, but through gameplay, he summons like 10.
Okay.
So like all depends on his magic, and his magic bar or whatever.
All right. So, would you? Have these spirits? This might be a weird question, but have these spirits shown any kind of resistance to mental manipulation?
Well, I mean, they're spirits, intangible spirits. How would mind manipulation work on them?
Well, they're still sentient, right?
Well, yeah, they're like demons and such. They're like forced to do whatever Kratos commands them to, right?
Okay, so they would have low willpower. It literally, like Kratos controls them. Like they have to do his bidding. Like they have to follow the bidding of the summoner.
Yeah, like if he spawns them and says attack this dude, they'd go and attack him, right? Or if he said spin around and whip out your dick, they'd do that, right?
Yeah. So I think what could possibly happen, which would really piss off Kratos, which might make it worse for Obi-Wan, but whatever.
Yeah.
We'll deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I think he could literally tell the spirits with the Jedi mind trip through the Force, like, yo, what he meant was attack him. Which is definitely something Obi-Wan would do.
Well, you know, it's like when he fights people like Persephone, right? She's one of the gods in Chains of Olympus. She has extreme mind hacks, and they didn't work on Kratos, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a possibility that these spirits are linked to Kratos' mind. Mm-hmm. And so if Obi-Wan were to try and mindfuck them, he would probably have to mindfuck Kratos first, which is a possibility. And, you know, Obi-Wan is going to be able to get Kratos on mind shit.
Alright, so here's the issue we already kind of have, mm-hmm. for my team at least, is this is a 3v3 fight, team-based battle. And we're going one by the matchups, but I think we should pause on this and move on to Yoda's fight, because Yoda is a big factor, and I'll explain why. So let's hold off on Obi-Wan and Kratos for right now. They would definitely engage first, but or do you want me to just explain what aspect of Yoda I'm talking about and explain why it matters?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, just explain what aspect of Yoda.
Yoda is like the god of battle meditation and force bond. So basically, he would tether everybody together in this battle. And battle meditation is used to boost your morale and your belief in victory and your courage and all that. As well as your actual force power, because they have force bond. So they're literally sharing power. They're all energizing each other. And it simultaneously takes away the will and the belief in winning from the other side. Now, hold on, I don't think that would work on Kratos. Kratos is not going to give a fuck about someone manipulate him thinking he can win. However, the power boost, the mental connection, the ability sharing, and the battle meditation at least working on one side, I think would really help Obi-Wan against demigod Kratos.
Okay. And you're saying that due to the boost with the Force and such, and your mental capabilities, you think that would give him the one up over Kratos, demigod Kratos? I mean,
I don't know, because so what would happen is Obi-Wan would get attacked by the spirits or whatever, and the Force bond would tell someone like Sidious or even Yoda, like, yo, weird shit's happening over here, and Sidious would be like, oh, fucking spirits, give me that. I like that, like, a snack. And so they would actually, I believe, be able to switch off back and forth and save Obi-Wan or fuck some shit up for the other characters. That would.
And we have to remember as well, there's two other versions of Kratos, right?
yeah, for sure.
So so bringing in Yoda for the Force bond and such like that. This is where I want to bring in God of War Kratos.
yeah, we can do that.
I'm gonna do something similar to what you did with Yoda. I'm gonna explain why I think bringing in this Kratos would be a good idea at this point. So, this version of Kratos, he's basically a big boy, right? This is after God of War. This is at the end of God of War 1 and at the start of God of War 2. So, he has so much shit going for him. He basically, and being as this is like, you know, a progression of Kratos, he has the same abilities he has the same abilities that demigod Kratos has, right? But they're just amped because he's reached a new status of importance. He's like the God of War. You know, he's gained all the abilities that Ares had and all the amps that Ares had, right?
Yeah.
So like So with what Ares did to Kratos, he tried mind fucking him. He teleported him to another dimension. And when he did that, he created a shit ton of clones of Kratos to fight him, right? Because in this alternate dimension or this other pocket dimension or whatever, Ares created a situation where he convinced Kratos that he could save his family again, right? And so his family was there, and Kratos was so depressed and so sad about what he did to his family, he would do anything to save them, right? Because if he thinks he has the chance to save them, he'll do it, right? He'll do anything. And when Ares said that to Kratos, he spawned in duplicates that are the exact same as him and have the exact same abilities as him, right? Mm-hmm. So with that, it's a bit of a fucked up argument on my end. Like it's really sad. But what would they do if this Kratos popped in, saw his boy having difficulties to an extent, and was like, nah, let's not have that? Then he creates clones of him that help him in battle. Then he creates clones of Obi-Wan to fight against Obi-Wan, and Sidious and Yoda and stuff like that.
Alright, so here's what would happen. Here's the only way my team comes out alive. Alright, so,
okay.
Well, there's kind of two ways. Which one might be easy for you to counter, I don't know. But what do they do? How are they against BFR?
BFR? They're the exact... The clones?
Yeah.
Well, they're the exact same as the host.
I know. What's Kratos' defense against BFR?
Against BFR, he easily escaped the BFR Ares put him under.
So, like, he was sent somewhere else and came back?
Oh, he was sent to a completely other dimension.
Okay.
Like Ares' own pocket dimension. He opened up his pocket dimension, flew Kratos there to protect his family, and then Kratos escaped.
Okay, and does Kratos need to breathe?
Well, not with the ability that he has. This is called the Ice of Poseidon. It allows him to basically hold his breath forever. It's shown when he goes underwater, he can survive underwater forever. You know? So that he doesn't need to breathe, per se. You know?
And which God of War is this?
This is Demigod Kratos.
And the other
so like Ascension, God of War 1.
So the other ones have the same thing, the breathing?
Yeah, so basically, when Ares created the clones of Kratos, right? They were basically the same as him in strength. They had his Blades of Chaos. If I remember, they had his magic as well, and they had his items. So if he were to create clones of his demigod, so if God of War Kratos were to create clones of demigod Kratos, they would most likely have the same equipment and weapons and abilities and such.
Okay, now Yoda would be fine against this, because Yoda could just, so how does the ability work when you clone someone? Like, is it an astral projection you're using from them?
I'll actually get that up real quick, and I'll actually give you help on that. When Ares did this to Kratos, right? Out of nowhere, they sort of just spawned in. It's a bit hard to explain. Like, so he was in the battle, right? And so he was teleported there by Ares, and then Ares told him about his family, and then they basically just started crawling out of the walls and such. So like Ares didn't need to, it's not like an astral projection or anything like that. They just like spawn in. They just Ares said, come out, lol, and then they just crawled out of the walls.
So, what I was kind of asking is, like, is there any way to defend against someone cloning you?
What was that, sorry?
Is there any way to defend against someone cloning?
No, it's pretty much instant. Like, you would probably, if there were to be any, if I were to say that there were to be a counter to it, you'd probably have to fuck up Kratos before he could spawn them in, because like, again, it's an instant thing, you know. So I don't really know. I don't think there's a counter to it, you know.
Yeah. Also, has anyone ever tried to take Kratos' body?
Yes.
Or like the body of a clone?
They haven't tried to take the body of the clone, but that would be the same to Kratos. So, like, in God of War Ascension, right, Megara, one of the Fury, has these bugs, and they can basically go into their enemies and basically control their body and fuck them up mentally, right? They take over every single aspect of that person. I can't remember the name of the bug, but they're these green little, like, large flies, right?
Yeah.
And so they basically, they like, a couple of them take on the Hecaton, and this is someone who defied Zeus and stood up to Zeus. So, like, he's pretty, right? And throughout the game, and through, if you want to argue that gameplay is a canon, I agree.
Alright, so here's another thing. This will probably
have these creatures that have possessed and controlled every aspect of the Hecatoncheires, which is comparable to Zeus, or even Ares. And they're scared to possess Kratos. I don't think.
Alright, so like you keep cutting out, by the way. But yeah, I got the gist of what you're saying.
I think of that.
So probably the best argument would be Sidious actually has Shatterpoint, and I think he would see that the Shatterpoint of this battle is that Kratos using that ability. And so he's just gonna throw the whole kitchen sink at that fucking Kratos.
Well, so that's like precog, right?
Yeah, so Shatterpoint.
Like,
so wait, well, it's a mix. So it is precog, but there's also regular precog. And what would happen? What happens is Shatterpoint. You see everything as like a big crystalline structure. It can be ideas, beliefs, objects, people, and you see the fault lines. You see the weaknesses. You see the points of emphasis. For instance, when Mace used it, he used it at the wrong time, but he saw that the he did use, I'll give you a better example. He saw that the Shatterpoint of the Clone Wars was Dooku.
Okay.
If Dooku dies, the Clone Wars end.
Yeah.
So he would see the Shatterpoint of this battle would be that Kratos.
Okay, and how exactly would someone counter that within Star Wars?
Now we just gotta fucking figure out if he's capable of killing that Kratos. That's what it comes down to.
Well, this Kratos is extremely stronger than demigod Kratos, right? Like,
yeah,
he's stronger than, and he did beat the fuck up out of Very that wasn't near the start of the fight. Like, around maybe 3/4 of the way through, after Ares gave him a little bit of slapped him a bit, he adapted and got stronger skill-wise, like how I mentioned earlier, and then he fodderized Ares. So, like, that Kratos is stronger than that Kratos and that Ares who fought each other.
How strong would you say Ares is?
Ares is the least universe, because he scales to the other gods and the Titans. At the bare minimum, universal.
Alright, so it's not really wank, honestly. I think you could put EU Sidious at around Anakin level when Anakin unleashes his full potential, because Anakin is supposed to surpass Sidious in power, and but that's Sidious within the Return of the Jedi, that timeline, the quote unquote canon timeline, and so I'd say he would be about 160% to the 100% that Sidious brings in canon, right? Because Vader, who maxed out his potential, was 80% of Sidious.
Okay.
So if we double that, you would have to say, okay,
Yeah.
Sidious gets 60% stronger, which is actually, he may very well have, because he completely mastered abilities like Force Storm, came back from the dead, and he got so powerful in the EU that when he died, it took the soul of every dead Jedi ever to stop him from
To
coming back
suppress
and
him.
destroying everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
think,
remember that.
Yeah, so I think his power significantly changed. In fact, he easily manipulated Luke, and we saw in Return of the Jedi, he didn't phase Luke with manipulation. He couldn't. And this new Jedi Order level Luke, when he comes back, it's obviously not Abeloth Saga Luke, but it's still, you know, he had no answer for Sidious when Sidious came back. When previously he could resist him, and Sidious had to resort to trying to kill him.
Okay.
So, I guess, okay, so we get to the scaling part, why that's necessary. So, son and daughter are both the concepts of good and evil within the Force.
Yep, the light side and the dark side, yep.
Yeah, Anakin ragdolled the fuck out of them when he fought them. And if I mean, would you agree that Sidious is at least relative to full potential Anakin? The EU Sidious?
Yeah.
He would at least be Universe Plus, because those same characters, Father stated, if they existed within regular temporal existence, just them existing there would destroy it.
Yeah, like them, they had the capabilities to tear the fabric of the entire, quote unquote.
Yeah, they would destroy the universe just by being there.
Remember that one? You discussed that with. Yeah, just by existing. So, with this God of War creator, he scales to Zeus, right? Because the only way he could beat him was to trick him and get him to pour all his godly energy into the blade of Olympus, right? And with that, he was scared of God of War Kratos in his god state, right? He was scared of him, and he didn't think he could take him on. And through the scaling of Zeus, I said at the universe. Increase that value.
You're kind of cutting out.
Oh, okay.
All right,
is this better?
Now. You should be good now.
Okay. So if I were to increase the valve on God of War Kratos, I could put him at low multiversal, because then now to bring in the other Kratos, because there's still the Pandora's box Kratos through God of War 2.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I haven't used all the Kratoses yet, buddy.
Yeah, keep going.
So he had 4 good pieces of magic, right? He has the Atlas Quake, which can shake the entire. So he can shake the entire infinite underworld, and he can shake the top surface of the earth, right? Just by punching the ground. So he also has Kronos' Rage, which creates a lightning blast that arcs from enemy to enemy. That we could debate on. I personally, I wanted to mention it because it might work. There's a possibility that it won't work due to what you explained earlier with Two Dominus and their Force Bond and their version of magic and such. Now, back to this little argument I bring up here goes back to the Surisu stance, right? This version of Kratos has Typhon's Bane, and it's basically a force push. It's basically a force push, but he can spam it an infinite amount of times until he just doesn't want to anymore. So with Surisu, if he has one Kratos creating clones of demigod Kratos with the spirits, and then you have this Kratos shooting Obi-Wan with these constant fucking force pushes, basically air gusts. I personally think that would fuck up Obi-Wan and probably end up getting him killed.
All right.
What do you think?
So here's where I'm willing to negotiate.
Okay.
I would say my team loses, right? But Obi-Wan's still gonna fucking kill Demigod.
You're cutting out a bit.
All right. So I said that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly now.
I said my team loses, but
Okay.
Obi-Wan still fucking kills Demigod Kratos.
Oh, you don't know what you're doing to me, man.
Oh, I could give you my reason why. I think all this would happen because Obi-Wan kills that Kratos.
Why do you think he would kill that Kratos?
Because when they get in close, Obi-Wan is so good. He would use the Forbidden Force move. And I think Kratos would jump in. And he would get Anakin. Obi-Wan has shown that was actually a Forbidden Force move, by the way. Like, you're not supposed to use it. Probably the closest he's ever been to the dark side. And he's shown that in that situation he would use a technique like that. So I'm not memeing. Hold on, I'm not memeing. I literally think Obi-Wan would take the high ground. And just fucking come to me. Like, what's up? Just concede.
Well,
Kratos loves to. Don't try to tell me he doesn't love jumping into combat. He literally jumps into combat all the time. I had a childhood. I know what he does.
Enemies, but with the way he strategizes around defeating those enemies, I can't agree with that Obi-Wan would Anakin him.
Maybe not to that extent. Maybe not to that degree of like absurdity.
Well, it all depends on the mindset. I'll agree, depending on the mindset of Kratos, Obi-Wan could fuck Kratos and Anakin him. But if he's just calm and he's just lightly fighting, then he'd probably be able to cut off one of his legs or both of his arms or something. But if this Kratos is angry in...
Hold on, you're cutting out. No, you're cutting out. Say something.
Okay, so can you hear me?
It cut out on the part where you said if he's angry. So
if he's angry, I believe that he would rape Obi-Wan.
Why do you think that?
Because whenever he's mad, he gets a dynamic boost to all of his stats. I don't know the multiplier.
Gameplay. Oh, fuck your gameplay mechanics.
Well, it's not just gameplay, bro. It's in the cutscenes as well, and he gained. I hate using this argument, but he gains infinite Thera's Bane. He gains infinite magic, and he was fighting Thanatos, right? Mm-hmm. And him and his brother were getting photorized by Thanatos. And literally it was horrible. Thanatos was Anakining Kratos and Deimos, right? His brother. It was that bad. And when Kratos saw his brother die, he got so mad to the extent that it was like when Abeloth made the son and daughter cower behind the father. Kratos fucking bullied him, okay?
Here's a fair point I want to bring up about Obi-Wan. First off, Obi-Wan prefers fighting someone, even if it's amping them, he prefers fighting someone that's raging. This is obvious, how he fought Anakin. So here's what I think would happen. And this is a fair argument. So I personally believe even raging...
During that entire...
And did I cut out? For you?
Yeah, you cut out.
All right, well, they could hear me, but I'll kind of restate what I said.
Okay.
Obi-Wan loves when fighters rage against him, even if it amps them, because it allows him to go on the defensive. And
yeah, that's what he did to Anakin Anakin, like he played in the third movie.
Yeah, he's done it several times with several characters, but yeah, that's how he gets down.
Yeah.
And what I think would happen, I personally think, even when pissed off with his amps, I still believe Kratos likes to blitz and try to fucking cut you in half. Like that tendency.
I disagree there. When he is mad, yeah, he does lose sight, but he still strategizes. And not only that, but he also does have a healing factor. And like, so if he's raging, you're not really going to cut anything off of him, because when huge gaping hole in his chest, it's like with Luke, you know, when he had like a hole the size of a fist in his chest, except this hole went through Kratos' entire chest and stomach. Like there was a huge gaping hole, and he literally just regenerated it out of nowhere while he was mad.
All right, so yeah, I don't know if he would regrow limbs, but I would also argue something like the hacks at that point in that situation for Obi-Wan, I don't think they'll work. Like the Bane, which is the push, I actually think Obi-Wan would, like, I'll be nice and say matches it. I actually think he would overwhelm it. The reason I say that is he saw a push coming from Anakin and matched Anakin. And I've already told you how strong, pissed off Anakin's force push is.
Yeah. Well, you know, an enraged Kratos as well, fighting one of the primordials, and the primordials are useful plus, right? And he bullied the primordial, and basically that would. No, actually, yes, it would put him near Zeus, because this Kratos, this takes place between the ending of God of War 1 and the start of God of War 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this Kratos fucking scales to Zeus. And, you know, I could put Zeus at multiversal to multiversal plus. So, like, while enraged, I'm not saying in base, because base is a lot weaker, but while enraged, he would fuck up, you know?
Yeah, okay, but how does Kratos usually start fights?
Well, he has never ever started a fight unless he is absolutely needed to. It's always been the other person that tries.
So if Obi-Wan hits him with the only Sith deal in absolutes, you don't think Kratos would jump at him?
Well, again, it just depends on the mindset that he's in. Like, if he's calm, he's not really gonna lash out, you know, because he only really does that when he's mad. And when he's mad, he gets a boost that's so great it puts him at just multi. And you know, I've heard your scaling for Universal Obi-Wan, and Kratos would just be so much stronger to the extent where, while mad, that I don't think Obi-Wan can literally do anything, being as there's such a gap in power between Universal and.
I feel like you're calling out my ability to wank. I can definitely get Obi-Wan to multiversal. Don't sleep. I definitely can do it. Because then I can just say that the Star Wars writers did not use the term universe correctly, and because of Uncanny X-Men 375, they would exist inside the multiverses of Marvel, which means that son and daughter as the concepts would destroy everything in the multiverses. So fuck you, Obi-Wan's multiversal.
Well, with that, I would just have to say that could be considered an outlier, which would basically, that would be putting them beyond the living tribunal and such if they're able to destroy the entire Marvel, you know? So I'd have to claim
actually,
that as
that wouldn't put them above LT.
Well, being able to destroy the entire multiverse, that would be destroyed in the multiverse.
Well, like pre-retcon Beyonder, he had his powers pretty much copied by Protege, and LT bodied him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a problem comparing the LT to Obi-Wan, so they're very similar. Except Obi-Wan's not a jobber, so. No, I'm being fair. I'm being fair. The Obi-Wan and Demigod are the weirdest matchup because both don't attack first. What would likely happen in this scenario? Am I cutting out for you, or are you good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright, so what would likely happen is the other two parties would engage. Obi-Wan and Kratos would rush in to help them, and then they would fight. And in that instance, I would actually... I don't think Demigod would be enraged. Because at that point, he's pretty much just fighting at that point. Like, he doesn't have a... Yoda and Sidious aren't going to kill the other two right away. So it's not like he's going to see one version of him fall and he's pissed.
Well, again, like, this goes back to the argument with the clones and such. Kratos, God of War Kratos, he'd be creating clones of himself. Well, not himself, sorry. He wouldn't be creating clones of his God of War self, but he would be creating clones of the demigod Kratos and the Pandora's Box Kratos. So that argument, I just feel like that argument got forgotten. But let's say I won't say he can spawn an infinite amount of clones. I'm not going to say that because that's just, in my opinion, that would be wank. So let's say that God of War Kratos can spawn 20 clones of each Kratos, okay? Would you agree to that? Is that fair? 8 or 10? What would you agree for clone?
It doesn't matter. The issue with the clone thing for me is when would this happen in the battle? You know, like is it the first thing? His first reaction would be like, "I'm gonna fucking clone these guys."
Yeah. What?
Like, okay, so very simple example. I'm a cop, right? You get routed. Okay. My first move, if this is my first move, it's fucked. But my first move is not going to be to shoot your ass. It's going to be to tase you, pepper spray, something, right? I'm asking him what's his first move. If his first move is to clone, we're fucked.
Oh, you cut out. I heard if his first move is the clones,
we're fucked. Yeah, I'm asking what is his typical first move?
Well, in his God of War state, his first move has always been to fuck with his enemy, right? It's seen in God of War 1. He literally jumps down into the city and he just toys with them and fucks with them, right? And because I'm not saying that Obi-Wan is the level of immortal compared to Kratos, right? God of War Kratos, he would acknowledge that these opponents are very, very strong, right? And being as he's a tactical genius due to his God of War position, he's lived through a couple wars over the course of, I think it's 7 years he was God of War for, before he lost his abilities in God of War 2 at the start. So he lived through 7 years of helping mortals through wars, and he understands how a war would take place. He's guided the mortals through these wars. So being as this is a God of War or Kratos versus Star Wars, we're defining it as a war, right? Mm-hmm. God of War Kratos would be tactical about his decisions. He would be like playing, he would be very tactical with how he plays things.
I think I might have something that'll save my ass. All right.
What?
Kratos is not force sensitive.
No, he's not force sensitive. He doesn't have
force. I fucking know how strong these boys
are. What do you mean?
So, Sidious literally hid his power from everybody, including Yoda. Yeah. And he can just,
so you're saying that Yoda and shit would suppress themselves?
It's not even necessarily suppressing yourself. It's hiding your signature. But he wouldn't even be able to detect their signature.
Well, I mean, he would be, because they would be fighting two other versions of Kratos.
No, I'm saying before the fight starts. I agree with you that Kratos is tactical. Yeah. I'm saying he wouldn't know what level of shit he would have to throw at them initially.
Well, yeah, I suppose I could agree with before the fight, they have Shadow Point and such, but You know, God of War Kratos, he doesn't have a precog, but he can. It's a bit difficult how you brought up the force sensitive shit. Well, before the fight starts, God of War Kratos wouldn't do anything. He'd probably sit back and be like, "These guys are fodder. I might just jump down there and try stomping on them a little bit." And while he's doing that, because this isn't just God of War Kratos versus these three, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would have two other Kratoses, fighting these characters as well. And, based on these Kratos' mindsets, they wouldn't be the ones to start the fight, right? They would just be, because Kratos has, let me think real quick. I just gotta make sure. Kratos has never started a fight unless someone has started shit with him first, right? Like with Zeus betrayed him. That's why he wanted to kill Zeus.
Hold on, I gotta be honest in your favor. Mm-hmm. I think what's gonna happen is Sidious is gonna read Demigod Kratos is the weakest. He's gonna fucking kill that one right off rip, right? Because these guys don't attack first, and then my team gets fucked because he did that.
Yeah, if they were to kill any version of Kratos, I don't think they're going to kill God of War Kratos or Pandora's Box Kratos, but in this hypothetical, let's just say Sidious reads Demigod Kratos' weaknesses, right? And he sees a weakness and he kills him, right? God of War Kratos and Pandora's Box Kratos would be fucking raged. That'd be
I know, yeah. I'm saying we get fucked.
Did you just kill my son, nigga?
Yeah, I'm saying Sidious gets us fucked in this situation. Because Sidious is gonna Shatterpoint them, see their weakest link, be like, alright, I'm gonna fucking murk him. Because they're not starting
with the force sensitive stuff. Would you consider? Yeah, with the force sensitive stuff, would you consider them cloaking themselves as an illusion?
No.
So it wouldn't be an illusion?
No, it's not.
Do you know where else?
I know about your stupid ass eye. I'm saying it's not an illusion. If I hide the TV remote under the couch, that's not an illusion.
Yeah.
It's just hiding.
It's just like this Demigod Kratos is a mixture of three different Kratoses. Chains of Olympus, God of War 1, and Ascension. So like...
No, I think he would definitely agree off-guard Kratos, like a passive Kratos, not about to jump on him, gets fucked by EU Sidious. Your weakest Kratos gets fucked by EU Sidious. Well,
it's just... He doesn't always start fights, but like, he's always on guard, like when he is attacked, like with the Furies, for example, they run at him, right? And he instantly goes, "Oh, bitch, you want to fucking square up?" And he just fights against them. So he's on guard. And how do you think Sidious would kill him? Like electricity, mind fuckery, he would stab him through the heart 1,000,000 times. What do you think would happen?
I think he would use Force Storm, open up a wormhole, isolate Kratos with him, and chop his fucking head off.
So a wormhole.
Yeah, he would literally put them one-on-one, and then he'd probably use Force Scream as well to stun Kratos and chop his head off.
Force stun is where you disrupt the other person's concentration, right?
Yeah. And Force Scream, which he can use at the same time, it's literally a scream imbued with the Force.
Well, if I remember correctly, didn't Mace Windu completely neg that when he was fighting them?
No.
But his other four Jedi apprentices...
No. They probably wouldn't have died if Mace negged it. Mace didn't neg it. In fact, in the novel, it was implied if Sidious had gone for Mace first, Mace would have died immediately.
Fuck, really?
Yeah, Mace was stunned too. That's why he wasn't able to step in and save his homies.
Oh, alright. So, how exactly... So it doesn't really... Is there a counter to the Force Scream?
If you are really chatty or you're expecting a force scream.
So if you're expecting it, how would you dodge it or neg it?
Through the force, just overpower their force.
And yeah, they're not force sensitive, so
Yeah. So
So
yeah.
Sidious is the type of faggot to
Oh, yo, yeah, 100%.
fuck around.
Yeah, he's an asshole. Yeah.
I'm going through my list here and I'm trying to think of something that Kratos has that can fuck that up.
No, like Sidious, if Sidious wants to kill the weakest link, Sidious is gonna kill the weakest link.
I'm just trying to think of a way that Kratos could counter.
Literally, our biggest problem is that Sidious is killing the weakest link.
Nigga, what are you gonna do about this? Okay, so can you define the Force Storm again for me? Like, how does it work? Do you throw your hand out and then a wormhole appears, or what?
You don't have to throw your hand out. Sidious just has complete mastery over time, space, and can open up a wormhole and summon a Force Storm, or use it to teleport someone through a wormhole.
Oh, so it would be a BFR.
Well, he doesn't even have to BFR. He could drop the fucking Force Storm on homie.
Well, you see, something like that has happened to Kratos in Ascension, right?
Mm-hmm.
That falls under Demigod Kratos. I'm not saying that it was a wormhole or anything or a force storm, but there is something that can compare. The fucking, what's it called? It's not Megara. Alecto. She tried putting something on Kratos, right? Tried forcing him down and killing him, and when he was immediately stopped. It was called the Oathstone of Orcos, and it created a shadow clone of him and ejected him out of the way. So I would have used that. Sidious would put on the Force Storm, right? And Kratos would use the Stone of Orcos, eject himself out of the way, and Sidious would kill the little shadow clone. And then they would all be on guard, and then
Sidious wouldn't kill the Shadow Clone. Sidious would ignore the Shadow Clone. But I think you kind of misunderstood me. I gave multiple examples of what he would do. He doesn't need the Force Storm to use Force Screen and Blitz.
Yeah, he would use the screen and such. He would fucking fuck up his concentration. Fuck.
Ha! Took one of you bastards with me.
Yeah, but doing that is gonna fuck up that entire team.
Yeah, but you see, Obi-Wan and Yoda would just dip. They'd leave Sidious. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, they wouldn't have time. The other two Kratoses would be so fucking enraged, man. Like, with their abilities and shit, that would probably kill every single one of them.
I will say this to end the video, because I think we agree Sidious does some
Sidious gets killed.
Sidious does hood rat shit, kills Demigod, but then he gets everyone killed. But I will say this just as a quick note before we end this. Part 1 and 2 of the battles.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2 will be a lot more interesting, because the boys we're bringing have toys for days. So I hope.
Oh my god, we have current Kratos, we have Hope Kratos, we have God of War 3 Kratos.
We got Revan, we got Luke, we got Darth Arcane. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
So, so this is something worth noting. Clones of Yoda wouldn't work against Yoda. I think he would actually absorb them or disperse them, because he went to Dagobah with the purpose of overpowering like his evil self.
Well, like, these clones, they have the exact same mindset, abilities, and weapons as Yoda. So, like, what's stopping these clones from absorbing Yoda?
They wouldn't attack Yoda if they have the same mindset as Yoda.
Well, like, they do have the same mindset, and, like, with these clones as well, they do whatever Kratos says. So, how exactly would Yoda go against, let's say, 5 bloodlusted Yodas?
Well, they would be using the dark side after bloodlusted, because they still have to use their ability. So they would be the dark side Yodas.
The dark side, what do you mean?
So, for them to go bloodlusted and to channel their attack to Yoda, they would be using dark side force.
I'm not sure if I understand.
But what I was saying was if the other clones would be a different story for Yoda. So like Kratos clones,
Okay.
Sidious clones, stuff like that's different.
Okay.
I'm saying just specifically if he happened to use Yoda clones, I think Yoda would be okay.
Okay.
But obviously if Kratos clones himself, it's fucked. Yeah, I don't have a counter for
that. All right.
Yeah, but okay, so battle 1, we concluded Sidious does hood rat shit, kills the weakest Kratos, but he gets his whole team killed in the process. Anyway,
yeah.
This was part 1 of 2. If you want individual videos on these characters, we've already made an Obi-Wan, Demigod, Kratos video. But if you want Yoda, Sidious, I've already done a Sidious actually and a Yoda, I think. I can update the Yoda one if y'all want. But if you want God of War Kratos for his own video or Pandora's Box Kratos, we can do that for you.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been your boy Sir Splash. Thank you, Kratos, for doing this battle with me.
Thank you, dude. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fucked. There was some way, but we will be happy to defend our positions. I will say, come join Discord if you want to argue with us. I will say if we had Coleman Trevor, we would have won. But like, subscribe, comment. It's been your boy. Dude, we should do a what if. What if?
Oh my god.
Trevor against Demigod. But yeah, it's been your boy Sir Splash with Kratos, and we'll see y'all later.